Ender's Game series.
The Ender's Game series is a series of science fiction books by Orson Scott Card. The series started with the novelette Ender's Game, which was later expanded into the novel of the same title. It currently consists of 13 novels, 13 short stories, 47 comic issues, an audio play, and a film. The first two novels in the series, Ender's Game and Speaker for the Dead, each won both the Hugo and Nebula Awards, and were among the most influential science fiction novels of the 1980s. The series is set in a future where mankind is facing annihilation by an aggressive alien society, an insect-like race known formally as Formics, but more colloquially as buggers. The series protagonist, Andrew Ender Wiggin, is one of the child soldiers trained at Battle School, and eventually Command School, to be the future leaders of the protection of Earth.
Ender's series.
Card first wrote Ender's Game as a novelette, but went back and expanded it into a novel so he could use Ender in another novel, Speaker for the Dead. That novel takes place 3,002 years after Ender's Game, although due to relativistic space travel, Ender himself, now using his full name Andrew, is only 36, making him only 25 years older than he was at the end of the Formic Wars. While the first novel concerned itself with armies and space warfare, Speaker for the Dead and its two sequels Xenocide and Children of the Mind are more philosophical in nature. They deal with the difficult relationship between the humans and the piggies, or Pequeninos, and Andrew's, Ender's, attempts to stop another xenocide from happening. A War of Gifts, an Ender story was released in October 2007. It is set during Ender's first year in Battle School. A prequel to Speaker for the Dead named Ender in Exile was released in November 2008. It involves Ender's journey to the first colony, as well as his meeting a character from the Shadow Saga, effectively wrapping up the final plotline of the parallel series.
Shadow Saga.
Starting with Ender's Shadow, 4 more novels have been released which tell the story of the people whom Ender left behind. This has been dubbed the Shadow Saga, also known as the Beam Quartet. Ender's Shadow is a parallel novel to Ender's Game, telling many of the same events from the perspective of Bean, a mostly peripheral character in Ender's Game, while Shadow of the Hegemon, Shadow Puppets and Shadow of the Giant tell the story of the struggle for world dominance after the Bugger War, in which the Battle School children, as well as Ender's brother, Peter Wiggin, and Petra Arkanian are involved who go against Achilles de Flanders, from Poke's crew. A sequel novel to Shadow of the Giant named Shadows in Flight further introduces Bean's children. Shadows Alive, a future sequel, takes place after both Children of the Mind and Shadows in Flight, tying up the two series, and explaining some unanswered questions.
The First Formic War.
Card and Aaron Johnston have planned a trilogy to cover events in the First Formic War. Earth Unaware, a prequel to the entire Ender series, was released on July 17, 2012. Earth Afire was released on June 4, 2013, to be followed by Earth Awakens on June 10, 2014.
The Second Formic War.
On November 4, 2013, Johnston confirmed work on a second trilogy of novels covering the Second Formic War, with the manuscript for the first book due in 2014. The titles of the novels, in order, will be The Swarm, The Hive, and The Queens.
Fleet School.
According to an interview with Orson Scott Card at Southern Virginia University, Fleet School is a new set of sequels to Ender's Game. It's for a young audience. It's what happens to Battle School after the International Fleet loses its purpose of war. It becomes what is called Fleet School, and it prepares kids to become commanders/explorers in the colonies that are going to be forming. We get to see that as the school administrators repurpose the school, the battle room is still there, but it's a whole different kind of education.
Novels in the series.
To date, there are 6 novels in the Ender's Game series and 5 novels in the Shadow series. According to Card, there is no strictly preferred order of reading them, except that Xenocide should be read right before Children of the Mind. The books can be read in the order in which they were originally written or in chronological order.
Publication date.
Ender's Game, 1985, Nebula Award winner, 1985. Hugo Award winner, 1986. Locus Award nominee, 1986. Speaker for the Dead, 1986, Nebula Award winner, 1986. Hugo and Locus Awards winner, 1987. Campbell Award nominee, 1987. Xenocide, 1991, Hugo and Locus Awards nominee, 1992. Children of the Mind, 1996. Ender's Shadow, 1999, shortlisted for a Locus Award, 2000. Shadow of the Hegemon, 2001, shortlisted for a Locus Award, 2002. Shadow Puppets, 2002. First Meetings, 2002, short story collection, Shadow of the Giant, 2005. A War of Gifts, An Ender Story, 2007. Ender in Exile, 2008. Shadows in Flight, 2012. Earth Unaware, 2012. Earth Afire, 2013. Earth Awakens, 2014, final book in the First Formic War trilogy. Shadows Alive, forthcoming, originally planned as part of Shadows in Flight, The Swarm, The Hive, The Queen.
Chronological order.
Earth Unaware, Earth Afire, Earth Awakens, The Swarm, The Hive, The Queen, Ender's Game, Ender's Shadow. Note: the events of Ender's Game and Ender's Shadow take place in roughly the same time period. A War of Gifts. Note: this takes place during Ender's Game, Ender's Shadow, Shadow of the Hegemon, Shadow Puppets, Shadow of the Giant, Ender in Exile. Note: beginning takes place during Shadow of the Hegemon and through Shadow of the Giant. Shadows in Flight. First Meetings, a collection of short stories whose settings range from before Ender's Game till after Shadows in Flight. Speaker for the Dead, Xenocide, Children of the Mind, Shadows Alive.
Comic books in the series.
Comic books in the Ender universe are currently being published by Marvel Comics.
Film.
The movie Ender's Game was released in the UK on October 25, 2013 and in the USA on November 1, 2013. The first script was based on two installments of the Ender series, Ender's Game and Ender's Shadow, when optioned by Warner Bros., but was adapted to focus exclusively on Ender's Game when purchased by Lionsgate. The cast includes Harrison Ford, Abigail Breslin, Ben Kingsley, and Asa Butterfield as Ender Wiggin. The film was directed by Gavin Hood.
The Authorized Ender Companion.
Written by Jake Black, the Authorized Ender Companion is the indispensable guide to the universe of Ender's Game. Sections in this book include, The Ender Encyclopedia, Ender's Timeline, Ender's Family Tree by Andrew Lindsay, Getting Ender Right, a look at the Ender's Game screenplay development by Aaron Johnston, and The Technology of Ender's Game by Stephen Siwick. The majority of the book consists of encyclopedia references to the events, characters, locations, and technology found in the Ender's Game series up to the publication of Ender in Exile. The book is notable for having new and behind-the-scenes information on certain topics such as battle school slang, the look of the Formics, the history of Hiram Graff, Ender and Valentine's travels, and Mazar Rackham's spaceship.
Ender's World, fresh perspectives on the SF classic Ender's Game.
Ender's World contains 14 essays from science fiction and young adult writers, as well as military strategists and others about various aspects of Ender's Game. The book includes an introduction by Orson Scott Card, who edited Ender's World, and answers from many fan-submitted Enderverse questions from the Smart Pot Books website. The following essays are included in the compilation. How It Should Have Ended by Eric James Stone, The Monster's Heart by John Brown, The Cost of Breaking the Rules by Mary Robinette Cowell, Winning and Losing in Ender's Game by Hilary Bell, Parallax Regained by David Lubar, Alison S. Myers, Mirror by Alethea Contis, Size Matters by Janice Ian, Rethinking the Child Hero by Aaron Johnston, A Teenless World by Met Ivy Harrison, Ender on Leadership by Colonel Tom Ruby, Ender Wigan, USMC by John F. Schmidt, The Price of Our Inheritance by Neil Shusterman, If the Formics Love Their Children Too by Ken Scholes, Ender's Game, A Guide to Life by